All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. For those of you who I haven't met before, my name is Erin O'Brien. I am a Thermomix consultant and team leader based in Druin in Victoria. But thanks to this wonderful virtual world, sharing my love of the Thermomix with everybody all over Australia and extending out of Australia, actually, which is pretty fun. But thank you so much for joining me tonight. I've decided to start a new little kind of monthly series of virtuals each month, sharing a little bit more, hopefully to help you guys get the most out of your Thermomix. If you or someone you know are thinking about getting a Thermomix, you can jump on and obviously see what it's all about. But yes, hopefully we can share some hints and tips and new recipes to get you inspired and getting the most out of your Thermomix investment. So welcome again. Tonight's menu is all about bring a plate. So this whole month I'm focusing on summer entertaining because we're very slowly here in Victoria getting towards the nicer weather. We get one nice day a week, but we're getting there. And as we know, over the summer months, we obviously spend a lot more time entertaining ourselves or catching up with family and friends. And often food is a big part of that. So I've got a few great recipes that I'm going to share with you tonight. I would love you guys to pop in the chat box and let me know where you are watching from tonight. And if you have a Thermomix, what model do you have? Perhaps what you're hoping to get out of tonight. Are you thinking about trading up and you're looking at the TM7? Are you hoping for some new recipe inspiration? Have you got you're hosting over the summer period and looking for some ideas? Pop it in the chat box and let me know. So I'm going to go over to my Thermomix now. Please, as we're going, I should have said, pop all your questions in the chat box. More than happy to answer as we are going. But yeah, feel free to pop any questions or anything at all in the chat box. I'm just going to pop a hi there so it pops up for you all if it hasn't already. All right, so this, guys, is the TM7. Does anybody have a TM7? Pop that in the chat box and let me know. But this is our beautiful TM7. I'm going to go back out of that recipe. And this here is the home screen. So hopefully I might move a little bit closer so you can see this little part. So the TM7, you can customize the home screen. I like having it. I'm a bit of a planner. I like to meal plan out for the week, even though it might change around, and be able to see what I am cooking. So I choose kind of the more, I suppose, organized option for the menu layout. You can there's a couple of different options that you can choose if you like some daily inspiration, if you just like to see all the modes, that kind of thing. But yeah, I like this layout and where you can see the recipes that I've planned. I've got my week, the manual mode there. You can scroll down, have a look at my bookmarked recipes. So these are ones I've marked because I cook often. And then my recently cooked section, some trending recipes for, new ideas and inspiration, that kind of thing. But we're going to go into my planned recipes to show all. And you'll be able to see our menu for tonight. So we are going to make, not in this order, but this is what we're making, some Milo mousse, a cheese and bacon cob loaf, broccoli and broccoli capsicum salad, pesto pasta salad, and we're going to make the Portuguese bread into our cob loaf. So we've got a bit to cover, and I reckon we can get it done in about an hour tonight. So we're going to get started, and we're going to start off with the Portuguese bread. I have kind of started the recipe a little bit. I'll explain to you as we're going, just to save us a little bit of time. But if we click into it there, for those of you who haven't seen the TM7 before, you've got a couple of things that we can see from here. There's now a few image options that you can have a look at. Sometimes there's a video as well. You can scroll down, so you can change the serving size in this one as well. This does make quite a large loaf of bread, so you can halve it if you want to. I'm going to keep it at that one. You can check all the ingredients. You can scroll down to hints and tips, and in the notes and things as well. But we are going to I'm going to just go back because this is what I've started. Just going to go to set as current step. So the first step of this recipe is just to place 550 grams of water and 720 grams of bread flour or baker's flour into the Thermomix. So we're just going to hit next because I have done that. The second step is to combine those for 20 seconds on speed 6. And then we're just letting it hydrate for about 40 minutes. So that's the step that I got us up to. So that obviously 40 minutes is a long time to wait on Zoom for. So I'll just show you. I'm going to bring that back just a tiny bit now. So that is just the flour and the water that's been hydrating there for us after it was combined. So what I did do with this recipe, and you can do with your TM7, is to set a timer. So obviously 40 minutes, your Thermomix will time it off after 15 minutes of inactivity, just to save power. So if you don't want that to happen and you don't want to forget your bread, which is something I do quite often, you can use the timer. So we're just going to pull down from the top of the screen, and this is what we call our cooking center. We've got a couple of options there. We've got the timer, the scales, and the cleaning mode. So we just hit the timer and we can set a timer from there. That will keep your Thermomix on and obviously alert you when that 40 minutes is up as well. So that is something that I have already done, and we're going to continue on from here. So next we are going to add into there 1 teaspoon of yeast. Has anyone made this bread before? It's very similar to like a sourdough texture without obviously being a sourdough and having to have that live culture and things. And then 10 grams of salt. And you'll see, tick that off, and then we're just going to hit next. And now we are going to knead that. So it's just going to knead for 6 minutes. Obviously, you are hands-free to do other things. We're just going to hit play, and that will start there for us. You'll notice a little bit of wobbling with your Thermomix. It all is locked in, so you won't find the bowl will hop off or anything like that. The TM7, it's designed so that we don't need the glider board that we've used with previous models. So it does have a glider foot as the back foot, which means that we can lift it up and move it around safely without damaging the scales. But it also just means that I have found that it does jump around a little bit more on the bench. So always remember, when you're kneading, your Thermomix needs you to stay by and just make sure she's not dancing off the bench. So while that is kneading away, I'm very, very fortunate that I have 2 Thermomixes. So we are going to move over to this one. And we're going to start our next recipe. So this one we are going to make the pesto pasta salad. Let me know if you've made this one before. Delicious, and again, super easy, and a nice big bowl to bring for a barbecue or whatever event you're going to. So obviously the same thing, we can scroll down if we want to, but let's just get cooking straight away. So into our bowl now. I'm not sure if you guys probably can't hear because I've got my headphones in, but the TM7 is also significantly quieter than the previous models. I found in previous virtuals when I was needing something like this, it was actually really hard to talk over it, and I had to be really cautious of moving the Thermomix away a little bit because it was difficult to hear me continue to talk, but I'm sure you can actually hardly even hear that moving in the background. So we're going to pop in 2.5 ounces of Parmesan cheese. So obviously this recipe is in ounces, but your Thermomix, being smart, will automatically recognise that and convert the scales for this particular recipe. The ounces are up there. Going ahead, but then it tells me to pop the lid on, and we're going to grate that on 8 seconds on speed 10. So this one will be a bit noisier because it is still a really hard cheese. So Zoom will probably beat me out for this 8 seconds. Just reading, Maria, you killed your sourdough stuff. Oh no. I made a bit of sourdough way back in lockdown, but I haven't made it for years, and now I feel like everybody's getting into it again, and it's motivated me. So I think it's something I'm going to have to learn to do again as well. So we're just going to hit next, and this time it's just telling us to remove about a tablespoon of that grated Parmesan instead of something. So that's what we achieved in that 8 seconds, just grating that down beautifully. I'm just going to pop a tablespoon back into the bowl that I had it in, and set that one aside. And into there now we are going to add 1.5 ounces of fresh basil. That's okay. Love the smell of fresh basil. It's one of my favourite things. 1/2 ounce of pine nuts. You guys love a fresh pesto. 1 garlic clove, so just the whole garlic clove. Take it off. 3 ounces of olive oil. So you see, obviously, adjust. You know, each step has all of the ingredients on it. A little bit different to the TM6 or TM5 with a quick B, where you nexting on through each one. And it will automatically. I find that some of the time I'm a bit quicker than the machine, but you'll see in a second that when you do reach that set amount, it will automatically tick them off as well. So now that I've hit the 3, I'll try not to do it with this recipe because it's converted the scales over for it. We'll see it in the next one. And just a pinch of salt. So next, now we're just going to chop those for 20 seconds on speed 10. Next. So into there you see that beautiful pesto in there. About 2 ounces of olives. You'll see that not doing very good expecting tonight. The scales automatically tear on the TM7 as well when you take the lid off, which is a game changer for those of you who have a TM6 or 5 that were always tearing the scales or forgetting to do so. This also says slice sun-dried tomatoes, and I've just realised that I have not sliced them yet, so I'm going to get my husband to do them off camera, and I'll add them in afterwards. So I'm just going to skip down to the mozzarella instead and add that in. Next, and then we're just going to transfer all of that to a large serving bowl and set aside. So I'm just going to put it in, again, I'm just tilting that back to move it. And I'm just going to pop it into a thermoserver. These are one of our new designed thermoservers. These are available as host rewards at the moment. If you don't have a thermoserver in your life, such a game changer. You really do need one with your Thermomix. They're so handy. And the new designed ones are even better in that the lid seals on, and it also has a bit of a locking mechanism that will keep the lid on. That is perfect for, you know, traveling or going to barbecues and things over the summer. You can pop the lid on and it will stay on and won't spill everywhere. So we're just going to pop that aside for the time being. And just go next. I'm just going to grab my water. Put that on the other side of the bench. So into there now we're going to pop 21 ounces of water. Cheated for tonight's virtual for the sake of time and use some hot water on there, but you can obviously just use cold as well. ticking that one off, and then we're going to pop in our pasta. So just some spiral pasta, about 9 ounces. And then next, and now it's just telling us to stir that with a spatula in a clockwise rotation. The only reason we're doing the clockwise rotation is obviously not anything to do with the cooking as such, but more to do with the spatula and the blade. So when you're going in the clockwise direction, you're going against the blunt side of the blades. So you are not going to damage your spatula because they're super, super sharp. Next, and now we're going to do some open cooking. So it says cook without the lid for 15 minutes, 212 Fahrenheit, obviously because the recipe is an overseas one, until al dente. And then it says to set a timer in the cooking centre to stir every 5 minutes with a spatula. So I can just pull down there and just like before, just add that 5 minutes. So we'll just give it a stir at 5 minutes just to make sure that it's cooking evenly, just a quick stir. And yeah, we can keep a close eye on it. So you'll see with open cooking, I'm going to lift the camera up. I'm sorry if I make you a little bit dizzy or anything. So the blades don't move and it will just bubble up and cook away once it heats up quickly there. Just a bit like the pot on the stove would. So you don't have to put the lid on, you can keep an eye on it. From what I've heard, this is a really handy for those people that cook with gluten-free pasta, which can be a little bit harder to work with. But being able to cook without the lid and keep a really close eye on it tends to really help from what I hear. Does anyone use open cooking? Those of you with a Thermomix, have you used the open cooking mode yet? Just gotta find somewhere to put my lid. Still blows my mind a little bit to think that, yeah, you know, when we're so used to the locking arms of the previous model, that we can cook without a lid on. All right, well, that's cooking. We're going to come back over here now. And our dough has been kneading away there beautifully. Oops, sorry, I skipped on past that one. And there it is. So this recipe does tell us to leave it to rest in the mixing bowl until doubled in size, about 2 hours. And then towards the end of that time to put on the oven. I'm just going to grab a bowl out. I'm just going to transfer it into a bowl tonight, so obviously I can keep cooking at the same time. I don't want to take up my bowl. So you will find, and I'll show you, that at this stage, this dough is really sticky. Yes, it is so great, isn't it? Yeah, chicken as well. Melanie, that's a really good point, that it does, because the blades aren't turning, it is great for cooking things that you don't want to risk getting chopped up. All right, so I'm just going to put that dough in there. So when you're making a dough with your TM7, or releasing a dough, I should say, you can actually use your spatula, the bottom base of it, and put it on the bottom of the bowl and twist that back and forth. It does help release the dough from the blades. This recipe is just, I find it doesn't work quite as well just because it is quite a sticky dough. So I'm just going to put that in there. And while that's doing its thing, I am just going to wash on our bowl so we can keep going. I'm just going to fill it up to the 1 litre mark. So I'll leave them like this now. Like I said, guys, if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat box. And I'll do my best to answer them as we are going. And we're just going to pop a tiny dash of dishwashing liquid in there. Pop that back on. And then I am just going to go to that mode screen by pulling down on my mode screen, the cleaning screen, by pulling down on my cooking centre. And then I'm just going to put a quick wash on. Oops, I didn't have my lid on properly then. Okay, so that quick wash is about 2 minutes on our TM7. Okay, so we've got that dough there. So yes, in a normal environment while you're cooking at home, you are going to either leave that in your Thermomix bowl or pop it in another and leave it for about 2 hours until it doubles in size. If you have it in your Thermomix bowl, you'll see that it actually rises right up and lifts the lid. It gets that big. But here is one I prepared earlier. So you'll see the difference obviously there. Just made doubled in size. So I'm going to pop the just made one aside. And I have used a little bread basket, but you can just pop it in a bowl like that one and then tip it out as well. That is perfectly fine. Pesto everywhere off screen here. So I have now got this one is just a silicone baking tray. Obviously you can pop it on any tray, flour or freeze it a little bit if you need to, but I find these silicone trays don't need anything. And I'm not going to be able to do this very well on screen upside down. You put quite enough flour in this bread basket by the looks of it. That is okay. Both my Thermomixes are beeping at me now. So the other one is beeping at me to stir it. So I'll do that. And I'm going to pop this in the oven now as well. So that's all I need to do for the bread. You can score it a little bit if you want to. Yeah, I'm not going to tonight because I'm going to just cut the top off it when it comes out anyway. But I'm going to pop that straight in there. They're all singing. So our open cooking one, I'm going to show you that bubbling away now. Again, sorry if I make it a bit dizzy there. That's bubbling away perfectly. So I am just going to give that a quick stir just to make sure it's cooking evenly. Just in that clockwise direction. And then I'm just going to give my bowl a really quick rinse here. You know what, guys, I am dying for a second bowl. It's the only thing that I'm missing with the TM7. We're very lucky as consultants. We've had the opportunity to earn them. So hopefully in the new year, I'll have one coming my way when they get to Australia. One of the perks of being a consultant is always getting the opportunity to get these things first, which is very exciting. So just give you 2 seconds while I give that a quick rinse. All right, and then we're going to move on to our next recipe, which is going to be a broccoli salad. Not sure if anyone's made this one before. It's one of my favourite Thermomix salads. It is so quick and easy, and I know that some people seem a bit concerned when they first hear it, because it's not something we would normally have, essentially raw broccoli salad, but I can tell you when it's chopped up finely like this, with the dressing and everything, it is absolutely delicious. So, all right, so we're going to go back out of the clean mode now. To cancel out of the Portuguese bread, I can just pull down that cooking centre again and just cross against that in the top right-hand corner. So now we're just going to go back to the home screen and we can show all of our recipes again. And this time we are making that broccoli salad. So this one we can also adjust the serving size for. So you can, if you're just making it for a couple of you, adjust it down to 2, 3. or if you are bringing it to a barbecue or something like that, you can increase it right up until 8. But for today, just because I don't need a huge bowl of it, we're just going to stick with the 4 servings. But yeah, a perfect one to increase the amount to take to a barbecue or something. So into the bowl, we are going to pop 200 grams of broccoli florets. So just roughly chopped. Just throwing them in there. And you'll see here that once it recognises that we've got that, it is automatically going to tick it off for us. And then 100 grams of red capsicum. Again, ticking it off. And then 70 grams of apple. So again, it's all just roughly chopped. This will be a bit over, but obviously just going to use the full apple. I'm not going to waste a little bit just for the recipe. So if you do go a bit over or like a bit more than a little bit over or under, it won't automatically tick it off for you, but you can just tick it off. Same, I guess, if you were skipping something because you didn't like it or you didn't have it, you can just tick it off. The machine's not going to worry about that. It's going to put in 20 grams of pine nuts. A little bit over there too. And 15 grams of olive oil. So this recipe, one of the reasons I love it is because it's so quick and easy, but it chops all of your ingredients and dresses your salad all in one. So I mean, it's great this time of year when broccoli and capsicum are so cheap as well in season. Really cheap salad to make. You can change the pine nuts for sunflower seeds if you want to. 10 grams of, it says fruit vinegar, apple cider vinegar. And then 5 grams of honey. A teaspoon of this. And then a teaspoon of mustard as well. So I use Dijon mustard for this. And you can use methanol if you prefer it. Oh golly. 5 grams of salt. So just about and then 1 to 2 pinches of pepper as well. Next. So that is all the ingredients. So it literally is just, I call these a quick chop salad. Yeah, it's so good, isn't it, Kathy? Hands down, my favourite. I do like, there's a couple very similar to this. Is the traffic light salad, like coleslaw does exactly the same as well. But I just don't think you can beat them there. Just the chop and the dress in one quick step. So now I've just got 5 seconds on speed 4. And that is it. That's our salad, chopped and dressed. How quick was that? It is beautiful. 5 seconds of chopping after you throw everything in there. Could not be easier. So just going to pop that all in a bowl. You'll see that it does make quite a bit this way, but like I said, you can even double the recipe and do it with recipe scaling as well. That is our broccoli salad. I'm running out of room here. I'm glad you guys can't see the mess behind the camera. I'm just going to give that bowl a little rinse to do the next step. So we are powering through all of these recipes. Are super quick, with very little hands-on time. So, like even if obviously you can just buy your cob loaf if you don't want to make it. But even if you're making your cob loaf, the hands-on time when you are making breads is very limited. You just need to, read the recipe ahead and make sure you're planned for your proofing time. That is the key with making breads. All right. That up again. So if we just next on to the end of that, it's just telling us we can serve it at room temperature. I must say, it says serve at room temperature, but it's one of those things that I would often make ahead if we're having a barbecue or anything, and pop it in the fridge. I make it the day before even, and pop it in the fridge until we are ready for it. I'm just going to give that pasta another quick. Still not finished anyway. I'm not sure if you can hear the double dinging when the Thermomix finishes, but one of the new features of Cookidoo, one of the new updates, is remote monitoring. So now when we're cooking or doing anything like even doing a pre-clean, you can have it set so that your phone or your tablet, whatever you're using, actually gives you a countdown of the time left on the machine. So I'm really excited about this one for the warmer months, actually. When we're outside with the kids, or when we've got people over, we can have something cooking away and I don't have to keep coming back to check when it's finished. My app will tell me. So the double dinging that you might be able to hear is my phone letting me know that it's finished as well. All right, so next we are going to do, the filling for the dip for our cob loaf. So this is the cheese and bacon cob loaf on Cookidoo. And again, scroll down if you want to. Otherwise, we're going to hit start cooking. So it's just telling us to warm our oven, line a baking tray, which we'll just skip on past these ones for the time being. And then into our bowl, we are going to pop 200 grams. It does say vintage cheddar cheese. I've just got cheddar cheese, taste of cheese. Oops. Take that. And then one spring onion, approximately 15 grams. Next again. And we're going to give those a quick chop. Again, 10 seconds on speed 9. Has anyone made this cob loaf dip, or are you a cob maker or eater? So we have just chopped that up together. And into there now we are going to put 200 grams of bacon, just cut into pieces. A bit under, but that's okay. And then 20 grams of olive oil. Do you know what I've done there? I've forgotten to put the cheese aside. So give me 2 seconds. I'm going to just pick out a bit of that cheese. I got a bit carried away then. I was thinking, goodness, that sounds a bit strange to cook the cheese with the bacon. Give me 2 seconds and I will set the cheese aside. It's all just on the top there, the bacon. Too much talking and not enough concentrating. All right. Just put the bacon back in. All right. So then we're going to hit next. We're going to give that a chop, 5 seconds on speed 7. I'm actually going to skip that because I'm really happy with how I've chopped up the bacon and I don't want it kind of minced up even more. So I'm going to skip that. Again, it's just personal preference. Always remember cookie-do is guided cooking is just a guide. You can change it to whatever you like it to be. Skip parts, add ingredients, whatever you like. So now we're just going to cook that bacon and olive oil. It says 5 minutes, 90 degrees speed 1, but what I want to just show you, one of the new features of the TM7 is the ability to use our high heat mode or our browning mode manually. So I think that this recipe, this bacon and olive oil, will take it next level if we heat it up with, if we cook it with a high heat rather than just that 90 degree saute. So I'm just going to hit the browning mode. So with all of our modes on Cookie-Do, in the top right-hand corner, we've got show tips. So this will tell us exactly, how to use it and give you some tips as well. So there's the preparation tips for if you're not familiar with it, and then the tips as well. So I went back out of that then. I'm just going to turn it down just to about 5 minutes. 160, and I'm just going to keep it on a gentle high heat. So the high heat mode kind of mimics a frying pan. So your blades will turn occasionally, mimicking you stirring it, and then they'll stop turning. It'll sizzle away, again, like it would in the frying pan, browning what's in the bowl, so in this case, the bacon, and then occasionally you'll hear the blades turn again. So because of the insulated covering on the TM7, you actually don't hear the same sizzle that we used to hear in the TM6, but it absolutely works. If not better, I love the option of the gentle and the intense high heat. So the gentle is like, if you're cooking on a frying pan on like a low to medium heat, and then the intense is more if you're cooking it at a high heat. But yes, absolutely love the manual browning mode, and you can add it into any recipe, whether it's a Cookie-Do one, a recipe community one you found on the internet, or anything at all. Right, while that's cooking away, we are going to just come back over to the other Thermomix, and our pasta is finished cooking there. So I am going to use my, I don't want to tip it out, you can see it's cooked away there. I'm just going to use my simmering basket to drain that. So obviously when you've got your Thermomix, use all your attachments. You can, if you've got more pasta, you can use the varoma. But I find that it's something you don't really need to keep in the kitchen anymore. I'm just going to give that bowl a clean as well. So give it 2 seconds. Again, if you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat box. I hope that you're getting something out of this. You're a quiet bunch, which is okay. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them. I'm here to help in any way. Goodness, my mess behind the scenes is a bit out of control tonight, guys. So glad you felt the rest of it. All right, so if we were to press next on there now, it's just telling us to drain the cooked pasta through the varoma, which, like I said, you can absolutely use. This pasta I could see was going to be enough to fit in the simmering basket, so I wasn't going to. I find just the simmering basket easier to clean, easier to throw in the dishwasher, less bulky. So I wasn't going to bother using the Baroma when, yeah, like I said, it can fit in the dishwasher a little bit easier, the simmering basket. So drain through the simmering basket in my case, and pop it in the serving bowl with the reserve pesto mixture and toss to combine. So I'm just drying my bowl. So that is up there reserve with the pesto mixture from before. And that is our pasta oven. Pop that in there. Looking so good. And then the next step is you can garnish it with the reserve parmesan that we had. You know, that tablespoon we popped aside and served chilled or at room temperature. So I'm just going to leave that for a second because I am going to add in that sun-dried tomato in a minute as well, and then I'll sprinkle that reserve parmesan on the top. All right, I'm just going to check our cob loaf in the oven really quickly. I flattened out a bit more than what I had it poked because I got stuck on that bread basket. I should flour that a bit more thoroughly and it would have flipped right out, but that's okay. All right, now to finish this off, we're going to make a really quick dessert. Actually, let's finish off. Our high heat's finished here, so let's do that quickly first. So we're not jumping around too much, and then we'll finish with dessert, and then we're all done. So that is that high heat done. So I'm going to go back out and to the home screen, and it will bring up the recipe where we left off. And so then we're just going to skip that step because we used the high heat mode instead. And into there now we are going to pop 250 grams of cream cheese. And then 250 grams of sour cream. Next, we're going to add in that reserved cheese mixture. It's got a little bit of bacon in it. Next. And then we are going to combine that for 15 seconds on speed 3. I'll try this plate. Mix might not be proper dip, that might be something else. What's your favourite thing to make? And now it's just telling us to transfer that into our cob loaf and top with our cob lid. So that is the dip mixture in there at the moment. I'm just going to put that aside. I've just taken the cob out of the oven, so I'm just going to leave that for 5 minutes to for the cob to cool so I don't burn my fingers. We'll do our Milo mousse, then we'll assemble it and we're all finished. So coming back over to this Thermomix now. All right, so now we are going to scroll down. Has anyone made the Milo mousse before? This has been a favourite of mine for many, many years. I have been a consultant now for 5 years, I think. I've just ticked over. And I had a TM5 before I joined, and I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. And I had lots of favourite recipes from the recipe community, and this was one of my favourites that I used to make. And now we have a collection on Cookie called The Best of the Recipe Community. And this recipe has made the cut and has now become a favourite for a lot of people, which is great because it is so good and so easy, as you're about to see. So into the Thermomix bowl, we're going to place 100 grams of chocolate chips. Who's made this one before? Anyone? Next. If I want to do with the lid. Actually didn't watch that. Give me 2 seconds. I really do need that extra bowl, don't I? Oh, guys, hopefully we'll be making it after tonight then, because you're about to see how easy it is. So 5 seconds on speed 7 to chop up those chocolate chips. Anyone else enjoying the jig of the TM7? Different to the ding of the previous models. All right, so just mixing on through that, and that is our chocolate chips chopped up. So now we're just going to transfer those into a bowl and set them aside. So just into a fine chop really there. Next. So now we're going to pop the butterfly in. Next again. And into there we're going to place 600 grams of thickened cream. And 50 grams of Milo. These are my friends. Just grab another one. Take that one off, and then it tears our shells for our Milo. So 50 grams of Milo. Taking that one off as well. It didn't tick off automatically because I went a bit over again. 40 grams of sugar. If you haven't noticed, I'm not a precise cook. Just enjoy throwing it all in there. And then 20 grams of cocoa. So next again, and now we are just going to mix that 15 seconds on speed 4. Yes, Maria, it's definitely the harder part, although I must say I love it that much that I've actually just got rid of both of my TN6s and I'm coping with less bowls instead. I had 4 bowls with my TN6s, but now I can't go back to using the TN6. I just love the 7 too much. And then we're going to pop in that chocolate again. Next. And then 15 seconds on speed 4. So we can, if we need to, prolong the time. Just depends on the freshness of the cream. So I'll show you after this 1 second. Obviously, you won't be able to hear it because of my headphones, but I can hear it thickening up as it's kind of blending there. So we'll check it, and no need to add any more time because this is perfect. Look at that. That is our Milo mousse done. So that is how quick and easy the Milo mousse is as well. That's what I mean by, you know, another really good one for our hosting or taking to parties and things. You can't double that one in the bowl, but it's obviously so quick and easy that you can just make another batch. How I do it when I am making a batch for a few people is I'm just looking for a bowl. It's such an essay. Is I chop the chocolate chips, like double the chocolate chips, and chop them both at once. And then once they are done, then I do the rest of it half at a time. So obviously then add half the chocolate chips in, and then start from step 3 again, repeating the cream, Milo, and sugar and cocoa step, adding the second half. Does that make sense? So, all right, let's serve all this up, huh? So, let's see the beautiful consistency of this Milo mousse. So the recipe does say to refrigerate overnight. Honestly, you don't even need to. Obviously, it's good. It tastes even better. But you can see that consistency is very much mousse-like already. And that, yeah. Even though it's even better, if you can leave that overnight, it's perfect how it is. There's still quite a bit in the bowl. I'm just not going to bore you with getting all that out right now. But it does make a decent amount. And like I said, super easy to repeat and make more. All right, I'm just grabbing my bread, my comb. Just going to grab a serrated knife quickly. Nearly finished, guys. Pumped it out tonight. Still very hot. But like I said, it did flatten a bit more than I'd like because it got stuck in the bowl. But you can see how that would work beautifully. So then you can just, it's going to be hard because it's so hot, just scoop out the insides and just kind of leave them in chunks so that you can use them as dippers. You can cut it up a bit more if you need to. So hot. But then you are going to transfer that tip mixture into there. And then I'm not going to do it right now, obviously keep it on there, but then you'll just pop that in the oven again for, just pop the little lid back on, pop it in the oven and bake it for 45 minutes before you serve it. And it just, that like kind of more creamy cheesiness comes, the flavors come out even more. So then once that's cooked, you can just, cut up the lid and serve it. But that is our cob loaf. That is our Milo mousse. Our broccoli salad. We're running out of room again. And I don't even know what I've done with my pasta salad. Where did I put that there? Oh goodness. I'm just really glad you guys can't see this. I'm just going to quickly chop up that sun-dried tomatoes. My assistant didn't come out to help me. He'll come out in a couple of minutes when we're finished for the Milo mousse, I can guarantee you. But that is sun-dried tomatoes there. See that mozzarella is not a bit too beautiful. And just reserve parmesan onto there. Is that done? So we have ready for summer entertaining. We have got, to start us off, we've got a cob loaf with that cheese and bacon filling. We have our quick chop broccoli salad. We have our pesto pasta salad and our Milo mousse. All super, super quick and easy. Yes, he absolutely will be. We should time him and see how long it takes. All, as you can see, super, super quick and easy with very minimal hands-on time. Perfect for if you're hosting people at home or if you've been asked to bring a plate, whether it be a starter, a salad to go with a barbecue, or even dessert. Thank you. That's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching tonight. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you've learnt something new to help you get the most out of your Thermomix. If you aren't aware, we do have an incredible trade-up offer running at the moment. So anybody with any model, previous model Thermomix, whether it be a TM6, a TM5 or a TM31, can trade up to the TM7 and receive a discount off up to $750 for the TM7, $450 for the TM5 and $250 for the TM31. So if you've got any questions about that or anything at all, our host rewards, please reach out and let me know. I'm happy to stay on and chat, or please send me a message or give me a call at any stage. I'm always happy to help. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. We'll be running the next virtual next Wednesday night, so I'd love to see you guys there as well. But thanks again. You can find me on social media as the Loving Mum. If you are not already following, I'd love to see you on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks so much, everybody. I will talk to you all very soon. No, thank you. Thanks for watching.